Hi, everybody. Today we're super excited to be here with Rachel Rogers, who is also an IBCLC, and she is the co-founder of People's Lactation. And we are here to do an interview with her about her recent breastfeeding journey that she continues on with her almost 1-year-old now. Yay! We're really excited to just hear more about what her lactation journey has been like from the perspective of both being a mom and a lactation consultant and a working mom at the same time. So welcome, Rachel. Thanks for being here with us.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
So I thought we could start just by you giving kind of an overview of what lactation has been like for you, kind of from that perspective, that knowing that you're a mom, but also a lactation consultant, and seeing what that journey has been like thus far for you.
Yeah, so it's been a roller coaster. And I think I keep telling people when the mom brain comes into play, the lactation brain is not existent. So I will definitely say, even though I know all of the bits and pieces and like facts and lactation textbooks and research, being in it, you're not thinking that way. So I definitely had reached out to a bunch of my lactation friends and family, even still now to this day, because I just feel like you don't really know, even though you know. It sounds confusing. So while it's been an awesome journey, there are definitely hardships and just like, what the heck through the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's so different when it's happening to you.
Yeah, for sure. And you're just freaking out like, I don't know what's going on. And then you have like this little comment saying, it's okay, they only have to poop, X amount of times. And you're like, but he hasn't pooped in 5 days. And then he poops and you're like, oh, okay, I guess he's fine.
I think that's a really important message. Like, you just can't turn off the mom brain.
Right. And also too, I think I would say milk supply wise, like I'm pumping and I'm getting enough, but is he getting enough? I don't know. But yes, he's growing and thriving and peeing and pooping. He's getting enough. But you still always question that, which is really annoying.
Very interesting. Well, I'm sure a lot of our parents out there can relate to that. And rest assured that even if you know everything, you're still going to worry. So
exactly.
What do you think has been the most surprising thing for you that, I don't know, maybe something that surprised you that you didn't think was going to be as hard as it was?
I'm definitely not a fan of pumping. So, as easy as you think it should be, it's also just like having to do it all the time when you're away from baby, obviously. And just making sure you have enough milk if you're not with him or her, or sending to daycare and making sure you have the right amount in the bottles, and making sure I have all the parts ready and cleaned. And I just feel like it's just over and over, you're doing the same thing. It's like, I could just put baby on the breast.
Right.
But instead I have to pump because I have a life too and have to work.
Yeah. Well, actually, I had another question kind of that goes along those lines about being a working mom. Like, what are some of the conversations that you had to have with your husband or with other people who are taking care of him, just around what you were just talking about, like about amounts of milk, about how feedings go in order to be able to protect lactation and breastfeeding in your case?
Yeah, so thankfully, because we are lactation consultants, I feel like we have a little bit in the hospital and outpatient, we have a little bit more wiggle room to pump as much as we need to.
Right.
So I can't imagine having a desk job and or being around people who don't really appreciate and or accept the whole breastfeeding,
Right.
chest feeding, pumping relationship. So I've been able to pump like about every 3 to 4 hours if I need to, which has definitely helped overall supply wise, I'm sure. Because if I was only able to pump once or twice, who knows where we'd be.
Right.
And then in terms of milk, like what to send, I think I went on Kelly Mom to determine like if you're away for baby this amount of hours, kellymom.com, research-based, evidence-based practice. And so I started, I think, with 3 ounces per bottle. So like every 3 hours, you would get a 3-ounce bottle at daycare. And then I kind of just stayed in contact with his daycare providers in terms of, do you feel like he's needing more milk? Because I also was doing some research on breastfed babies don't necessarily need to go up in amounts like as they get older because the milk composition changes. So I didn't want to be sending 8 ounces if he didn't need 8 ounces at a time, because I also don't want to waste my milk.
Precious resource.
So even now he's 10 months and he gets 5 ounces every 3 hours at daycare. Granted, he's, we've been introducing the solids, so he's getting solids in between.
Right.
But yeah, that was kind of another thing that was nice to be able to talk to the daycare provider about, to see what they kind of thought. And they've been doing it for, however long. So it's nice to get their opinion and not just have to base it off of, well, I don't know, like I just breastfeed whenever when we're at home. So I'm not keeping track of, I'm definitely not weighing him every time. I've only weighed him, I've only weighed him once pre-post, and that was it. This whole time. I was like, nope,
that's
not
impressive
doing it.
to me. That's really impressive to me.
I was like, I'm not doing it. I will drive myself crazy because
Right.
it's just a snapshot and you don't want to get in your head about it.
Wow. One time ever.
Yeah, one time. That's it. Nope,
Oh my God.
not doing it again.
Wow.
And then I would say the pumping, like with my husband piece, he is awesome about washing my pump parts and bottles most of the time. Yeah, I would say he is mostly the one that does it. So kudos to my husband. It's annoying.
Have you implemented any of the tricks that we sometimes talk about getting like more than one set of pump parts, or doing things, any tricks that you do to kind of stretch out the amount of washing that needs to be done?
Yeah, so we definitely have I think we have 9 bottles. And when I send them to daycare, we use 3. So we don't have to wash every single time. And then pump parts, I do have 2 sets.
Okay.
So I try to keep on top of the cleaning, but I'll have the backup in case, I'm rushing to work and I forgot to wash my parts. So that's nice. And then I would also say what's been important for me is hands-on pumping. So I definitely, at least one side, which is so weird, my right breast does not cooperate as well with the pump. So I definitely don't get my maximum output if I don't hands-on pump.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. I also remember at the beginning, like when you came back to work, I think you had printed out something about pace bottle feeding for.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I totally see, it's so long ago.
I know.
So in the beginning, I had my dad and a friend coming to watch Wes at home because of COVID, and I didn't want him to be in daycare that young. And I had printed out, I guess it was like a picture image I had found on Google about paced bottle feeding, so
Yeah,
that
that was a
so
good
that
one.
my dad and our friend were like having Wes chug the bottle and get frustrated at the breast later when I'd come
Yeah.
home. And they did a really nice job, I think.
I think that's such a great tip for just protecting that breast or just feeding relationship when a mom goes back to work, like setting yourself up for success by helping the caregivers know how to do that. And we can look up
Sure.
that resource and link it down below so
Yeah,
that you guys have
I'll
access
find the
to
image
that.
and send it to you.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what made me think about, maybe it was Kelly Mom too. I don't know.
It was really
I was
smart.
looking up all sorts of pumping and work stuff. So, and it was kind of, under the table. I'm not going to sit here and show you how to pace bottle feed, but here's a picture. And then I think I even put his feeding schedule on that same paper.
Oh, smart.
On the bottom.
Yeah.
So they had to look at it.
Not optional.
Right, exactly.
What have you enjoyed most about your lactation journey with your little one so far?
Definitely the bonding and him wanting me more so than dad or anyone else. Like when he's tired or fussy, sometimes it's very overwhelming, but for the most part, it's awesome because then he, like, especially when they get older, they're not cuddling as much as when they're a newborn and not doing anything. So it's nice to have him with that closeness, I would say, and bond.
Awesome. And I think it's a very fair point to say that that's a beautiful thing, but that it can get overwhelming because we've all heard of the parent that feels touched out or just like they need a break, and that's a normal thing to feel. And
yes, if you are feeling that, set your baby down, walk out of the room. They'll be fine.
Yes.
I've done it twice. Or if you have a supportive partner, hand them off, walk outside, go get yourself a coffee, something fun.
Yeah. It's okay to take a break.
Yeah.
Rachel and I know each other, so I know some of the challenges that she's faced, and one that we haven't talked about, but that was pretty significant, I think, in her lactation journey as far as that he had a tongue tie and lip tie
and cheek ties.
Okay, so maybe you could talk a little bit about that and what that process has looked like for you guys and what maybe you've learned from it.
Yeah.
And how you got through it.
Yeah. Lots to learn. So in the beginning, I was like, I'm not going to go in his mouth in the hospital. I'm a lactation consultant. I'm not going to make it a problem if there's not a problem.
Yeah.
And he went on right after delivery and did great. Both breasts, no pain. I don't know. I was half out of it. And then he was born in the morning. I don't remember if it was that night, probably, or in the morning where I was like, it was that night. This isn't feeling great. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I went in his mouth and I was like, great.
Here I am.
Like, definitely a lip tie, definitely a tongue tie, maybe cheek ties. Again, I'm not diagnosing, I'm not a doctor. So I even tried a nipple shield. I was like, oh no, like this feels even worse.
Okay.
So I got to the point, I think overnight, of I need to pump because he's not going on my boobs.
Yeah.
My nipples felt like a piranha was on my nipples. Yeah.
Who doesn't love a piranha on your nipple?
So I was like, okay, I'll just pump. And he was big. So they were checking blood sugars.
How big was he?
He was 9'3". I delivered vaginally. Ouch.
Amazing.
We made it.
Survived.
So I ended up just pumping going home and not putting him on the breast to try and do some nipple rest and heal the nipples up a little bit. And so we had started formula because of the low blood sugars and him not doing well at the breast. And then we, being in the lactation field, our resources for tongue and lip cheek ties.
Right.
So we were able to get in with a pediatric dentist. I think it was 9 days later.
Okay.
Because we don't want to do it too soon.
Right.
But even looking back now, I was not on top of it like I should have, or maybe I should have waited a little bit longer to do it. Because he was closer to that 9 days. I was putting him to the breast more frequently, even if it wasn't the most comfortable. It wasn't like it was in the beginning. But I definitely mentally was not in the right mindset to do all of the exercises that needed to be done. Okay. So we had his lip and tie and cheeks released around day 9. I think it was day 9. And just where I was at, we didn't keep up with the exercises. He was having some silent reflux and didn't like being laid flat, which of course they're like, oh, that's the only way they can sleep. So that sucks. He would spit up all the time in his car seat and on me. And what else? There was just a lot of GI upset in the beginning. And so I'm trying to remember. Sorry, it's been a while. What happened next?
I remember you did some body work too.
Yeah, so we did body work pre and post, body work and chiropractor, 2 different things, which definitely you want to do to help kind of make sure everything's in line before doing the release. But even with all of that, it was still kind of hit or miss. But I toughed through, we toughed through. But then I feel like around month 5 or 6, I would look in his mouth, like doing diaper changes, not with my fingers, just like him babbling or opening his mouth. And I was like, I feel like there's still a tongue tie.
Oh no.
And maybe a lip tie.
No.
But I didn't really want to believe it because I didn't want to have to do anything again. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, he's been growing, we're peeing and pooping, my supply's okay. But then we started doing solids, and he was quick to close his mouth and not want more, like after a bite even. And he was doing some like gagging, and I just felt, I didn't feel like we were breastfeeding too much, but I eventually had a speech therapist, feeding specialist come over. She was like, I think he's snacking on the breast. I was like, oh, maybe, like probably, because I think I'm feeding, you don't pay attention when you're home, but I think he's feeding probably about every 2 hours at 6 months old. Probably not the best.
Yeah.
And she was kind of just watching me trying the solids, and she was like, she went in his mouth and she was like, yeah, you probably should get his lip and tongue done again. I was like, no. I was like, but I had that other outside opinion, right? Not just me.
Right.
So it made it a little bit more okay. So we went, validation. Yes. Yeah. Validation. So we went, and had his lip and tongue done again around 6 or 7 months, I think. And definitely hard, because they have some lungs on them, boy, in the beginning, because he's older and louder. Right. But it was definitely nice, because where I was at mentally, I was able to focus more on, okay, we're doing the lip and the tongue. And I was able to have my husband, Ben, I was able to have Ben do them as well. And he was super supportive and did it, if I was at work or whatnot. And I didn't have the daycare providers do the tongue, because I felt like that was too much, but I had them doing the lips even, and they were totally fine with it. They were like, yeah, sure.
Wow, that's awesome.
We're giving them the bottle, so. So that was nice. And after that, and body work and some more chiro work, because he was super tight. Even the body worker was like, his right side, which was his problem side, is so much looser. And I was like, yes.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah, like she felt it without me even saying anything.
Really?
And we are now breastfeeding like every 4-ish hours.
Wow, what a change.
Yeah, and we're doing solids at least 3 times a day. Yep, 3 times a day. A mixture of like finger, what is that, baby led weaning?
Yeah.
And purees, a mixture. Okay. So yeah, definitely worth it, but definitely a journey in the whole aspect of you got to be mentally ready for it. Even if you think you are, sometimes you're not.
Oh my goodness. I mean, what a roller coaster from having to do it once and then having to do it a second time.
I felt so bad. Ugh. But it was definitely the right decision.
Okay.
No more spitting up, less snacking at the breast, better with solids. So definitely a good choice.
Yeah, and I think another like really important thing to highlight in your story is the fact that you were able to bring other people on board and have a really like all around good team of professionals who are helping you through it. It's not just
for sure,
not just release and then go. It's really doing that body work and the chiro that can make a really big difference.
Yeah, even now he's 10 months, right? And I still take him to do chiro and body work occasionally, just because I feel like they're sitting there and in their jumpers and car seats and tummy time and all this stuff, and like I'd be tight too. Loosen that stuff up.
So many things to think about. All of those appointments must feel overwhelming when you're an exhausted first-time mom too.
In the beginning, yes, I would say when it was more back to back, definitely. But also it got us out of the house and it gave us something to do, which was nice.
True. Obligation to get out of the house and be out there in the world.
Yeah, exactly. See another adult, maybe get yourself a coffee while you're there. I'm all about the coffee.
Take a little break from the baby talk.
Yeah.
All
my
about
4 walls that are my house.
The dogs.
Yeah, the dogs.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that. I know that was kind of an emotional roller coaster for you at some point. So I think like talking about it and having other parents hear your story maybe will be encouraging for them for sure.
As long as you have a good support system, and even then it's hard. Right. Because it feels like sometimes that you're the only one that can do it with the breastfeeding, which is technically true. If you're breastfeeding, right?
Right.
Only. So that can definitely feel like a lot, but I feel like once you start getting chunks of sleep, and that means like a 3 to 4 hour chunk, you start to feel a little more normal and a little more clear-headed. So I would say around 1 month.
Okay.
1 month when Weston was 1 month, I started feeling like, oh, this is pretty okay. Like I can do this.
I got this. We're figuring
I kind of feel like myself again.
Kind of. That's good though. Kind of feeling like yourself. So
yeah.
Good place to be.
Right. Exactly.
I also wanted to ask you, when you started this journey, what were your goals? And do you feel like your goals have changed as far as like length of time that you want to continue? Just overall goals,
I think my goal was to make it to a year, however that looked.
Okay.
Whether it was wanted to breastfeed the whole time, right? But who knows how, in the beginning, how it's going to turn out. So I wanted to make it to a year, whether with breast milk, I should say, however that looked. And we are still breastfeeding at 10 months. And honestly, I mean, at first I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it past a year. But now it's like, well, whatever he wants. I don't know.
Cool.
If he wants it longer, awesome. If he doesn't, that's fine too. But I'm not going to, cut him off or make it stretch longer than it needs to, right? Whatever. I don't know. I've kind of just opened it up to it's his choice.
Yeah, I love that.
Whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of makes it easier somehow for me mentally too, to like not have to push through if it's not working for him, or
right.
Like I'm not going to make something happen, but if it happens, great.
Yeah, so let him lead the way, and we always talk about as long as it's mutually beneficial for the parent and the baby. So it sounds like you're at a place where you're okay with it either being shorter or longer, just depending on what he wants, and you're going to let him lead the way.
Exactly. Cool. And with how much he's still nursing 5 or 6 times a day, depending.
Yeah.
6. So
you're good.
I'm sure
that year's coming up on you quickly.
I know. I'm sure it'll go past a year.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds like you're on that trajectory.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, I love that. Do you have any last words of encouragement or advice for other parents who are just starting out on this journey?
I think I always say, if you can make it past the first 2 weeks, that's the hardest. Okay. Legit the hardest. And the biggest thing is support. So friends, family, friends like family, like you, just everybody that you can have help is the most important in the beginning. And I know they say to sleep when baby sleeps, which can be hard, but I think it really is important, even if it's once a day or once in the evening, if dad can help, or if your support person can help, right. Or your partner, just for like one nap in between breastfeeding sessions, that makes a world of a difference. Even if you don't feel like you need to, and you will probably pass out. So take it. The other thing I would suggest, and even now, is food. So if people can make you food, bring you food, have food ready, you don't want to think about it. It's too much. Even now, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's for dinner, right? Yeah. Like, you figure it out. If it's here, great. I'll eat it. Whatever. I'll eat anything at this point. Snacks, great.
When you're the primary food source for another human, you don't want to worry about what your own food source is.
Exactly. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm eating all the time. I don't want to have to think about what I'm eating or shop for what I'm eating.
I hear that. I feel that on a day-to-day basis without a baby here. So
Exactly. So use your resources. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. It can be so easy. I can imagine it's easy when baby's sleeping to want to do a million other things, to be able to squeeze it all in while you have a free second, but yes, take that time to slow down and just get some rest. And
yes, even now, like, we're down to 2 naps, and I will still try to nap with his first nap.
Awesome.
Because I need it, and why not?
And why not?
The other stuff can wait.
Yeah, laundry, that can wait.
For sure.
Awesome. Anything else that I didn't bring up that you want to mention about your breastfeeding journey so far, either from a mom perspective or from a lactation perspective?
I don't think so. Other than like, trust yourself, trust your instincts. Don't go down all these rabbit holes and blogs and other moms, even your friends might be telling you something. And if you're like, I don't know, about that. Don't go with it. Who cares? Like, it's you and it's your baby. You guys will figure it out.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I really think that you've offered a world of information to a lot of other parents out there who are starting this. And just, I think it's going to be hopefully very helpful to know that even though you're a lactation consultant and you have all
And
the
a nurse.
information and you're a nurse and you still had your struggles and it was still not easy, and it's not really easy for anyone. And I just want to highlight your last word of advice about just taking it kind of, just knowing that where you're at now isn't the way it's always going to be, and getting through that first 2 weeks is a really great piece of advice. I think, like, getting through the hardest thing, but having, like, knowing that it's not always going to be as hard as it is in the beginning, and that it will get easier and new challenges will come up, of course, and
Exactly.
just knowing who to call for help and when to bring support on board. So
yeah, and that you're always going to question everything, and that's fine.
Yeah. That's part of being a good parent.
Exactly.
Worrying and
Exactly.
questioning.
Well, thank you. I know I loved being on here and talking about our journey, and hopefully it helps, even if it helps one person. Awesome.
It will. I'm sure it will.
And if anyone has questions, they can always, I think, reach out on your YouTube thing.
Yeah, you can comment down below. And then we also, we do virtual visits. So if you think that it would be helpful to work one-on-one with either Rachel or I, you can click the link above in profile and set something up with us.
Yeah, maybe even in the future we could do like a, I don't know, like a Zoom call-in.
That would be so much fun. Like, do a
Have people
Q&A.
talk about
Mhm.
things. That'd be fun. That'd be
That'd
cool.
be really fun. I think we should schedule that.
We should do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
See, we're brainstorming here on the best ways to
know.
support our community.
Everyone pay attention.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Subscribe down below. We will be bringing you more videos, of course, about lactation specific topics. So if you subscribe to the channel down below, you won't miss any of the videos that we bring your way. So thank you for being here, everyone.
Yay!
Thanks for being here, Rachel. So
Love you all.